Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Vivian Ezadifi and my sign language interpreter is Courage Ogiriahi. Vice President Shatima says Nigeria will uphold the rule of law with premium on rights of citizens to fair hearing. Nigerian Meteorological Agency warns of hazy conditions across some northern states. New UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron makes first visit to Ukraine. To the news in full. President Bola Tinubu departed Guinea-Bissau after attending the 50th Independence Day commemoration of the country. Details will come in our subsequent bulletin. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has arrived Freetown, capital of Sierra Leone, ahead of her participation at this year's UN World Day Against Rape and Girl Child Exploitation commemoration. She was received at Longay International Airport, Freetown, by the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Fatima Barrow, after which she took a boat ride into the capital and the waiting arms of Nigerians and Sierra Leonean cultural troops. Slated for November 18, this year's UN World Day commemoration by Sierra Leone highlights the challenges of gender-based violence, girl child exploitation, and rape in Africa, with a view to building a coalition against it on the continent. During the commemoration, Nigeria's First Lady, her counterpart from Angola, Anna Lorenco, and the host country are expected to sign commitment and lend their voices to the struggle against the scourge, while also working towards healing for victims. Now, on the foreign scene, Madagascar voted in a presidential election on Thursday with incumbent President Andry Rajoelina urging people to vote in a highly contested election in which he is seeking a new term. Charles Alpha has details.
Rajoelina is one of the 13 candidates on the ballots, but 10 of the others have called on voters to shun the election, complaining of an institutional coup in favor of the incumbent Andry. Following a nighttime curfew and weeks of protest, voting got calmly underway early Thursday, with voters emerging from rudimentary polling centers, their thumbs stained with green and gold indelible ink. Polls were scheduled to stay open until 5 in the evening. Rajoelina has brushed off criticism and expressed confidence that he will secure re-election in the first round of voting after casting his ballot in the capital, Antananarivo. Thursday, he urged voters to do the same. The only democratic path are elections, he said, denouncing people who try to cause trouble. The Indian Ocean island nation is the leading global producer of vanilla, but also one of the world's poorest countries, and has been shaken by successive political crises since independence from France in 1960. An investigation had been opened after electoral materials stored at the 3 polling stations was burnt on Tuesday. Rajoelina first took power in 2009 on the back of a coup, then skipped the following elections only to make a winning comeback in 2018. As his opponents refused to campaign, he flew across the country by private plane, showcasing schools, roads, and hospitals built during his tenure. It is irresponsible to encourage voters not to vote, his campaign spokesman Lalatiana said. 11 million people are registered to vote in a country of about 30 million people. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Still on foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping have agreed to resume high-level military communications. Reports say China had severed this vital line after Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan in 2022. The U.S. has been keen on restoring it to avoid potential military clashes. The meeting at a historic exchange near San Francisco marks the first time the leaders have spoken in person in more than a year. Relations strained when the U.S. accused China of sending a spy balloon across its airspace earlier this year, but have since started improving. The world leaders are also expected to discuss the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, international trade, Taiwan, and fentanyl trafficking. Newly appointed British Foreign Secretary David Cameron has made his first official visit to Ukraine on Thursday, where he pledged continued military support and a refocus on the country as the war in the Middle East continues. Charles Alpha reports.
Cameron said his visit reaffirms the message that the UK will continue to give Ukraine the moral, diplomatic and economic support, but above all, the military support that Ukraine needs, not just this year, next year, but however long it takes. Zelensky congratulated Cameron, a former British Prime Minister, on his new appointment and thanked him for making his first working visit as the top UK diplomat to Kyiv. Zelensky said this is very important, especially now when the world is paying attention not only to the situation on the battlefield in Ukraine, and dividing the focus really does not help. Referring to Israel-Palestine conflict, which has dominated the news for over a month now. Report says the two officials also discussed the situation in the Black Sea and the working of the so-called alternative grain corridor. The UK has provided Ukraine with billions of pounds in military aid since Russia launched the war in February 2022. Military hardware donations have included a number of Challenger tanks and long-range missiles, and tens of thousands of Ukrainian recruits have been trained by the British military on UK soil. British Foreign Secretary David Cameron was Prime Minister from 2010 to 2016 and resigned after the UK voted to leave the EU. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
A delegation from State Forestry Department of Poland is in Nigeria to understudy the structure and environmental management practice of the National Park Service with the aim of acquiring solutions to the forestry challenges in Poland. The delegation, led by Adam Rek, during their visit to the National Park Service in Abuja, told the Conservator General Mohammed Goni that after the World War, Poland had just 20 species of animal, but now boasts of almost 3,000, but faces the problem of inadequate water and retention mechanism for wildlife in addition to climate impact.
Overcome the problem of forestry in Poland. We're learning a lot about the structure of forests in Nigeria, and this is a really interesting experience for us.
For Poland, it's all about protecting and replacing every tree that fell for timber, but for Conservator General, it is all about rapid generation from 1 park to 7 and now 17 national parks. As 17 national parks and 17 national parks. He exposed the delegation to Nigerians' mode of operation and the natural endowment that abound in all 17 parks.
To regenerate an area, you have created a habitat, and knowingly or unknowingly, you should expect the invasion of that habitat by wildlife species. So, for me, Poland and Nigeria are going to share ideas, and we are going to gain from each other.
The visit opens up a very important collaboration between both countries, who believe there are a lot they can learn and offer each other in forestry and wildlife management. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET says hazy conditions could affect horizontal visibility. The agency in a statement clarifies that due to strong winds, the dust in suspension could spread to some states in the northern part of the country. It further states that Katsina, Kano, Nguru, Jigawa, Bauchi, Gombe, Potuskum and Maiduguri might witness the developments in the next 24 hours. NIMET therefore implores the public to take necessary precautions, even as it advised airline operators to keep abreast with current weather reports for effective scheduling of flights. The federal government says it will continue to uphold the rule of law with premium on the right of citizens to fair hearing. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this at the public presentation of 2 law books in Abuja. Delia Tombi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
The 2 books, titled The Supreme Court and the Jurisprudence of the Right to Fair Hearing in Nigeria and Public-Private Partnerships in Nigeria, an essential guide for stakeholders, delved on the principles of the constitutional right to fair hearing and infrastructure as the critical element for socio-economic advancement of any nation. The first book on the Supreme Court and the Jurisprudence of the Right to Fair Hearing in Nigeria, authored by Yusuf Ali SAN, focused on the principles of fair hearing as laid down in the verdicts of the Apex Court. The author equally advocated increase in the number of justices on the bench of the Supreme Court from 21 as stipulated by the Constitution to 30. The second book, co-authored by Yusuf Ali SAN and Dr. Adekilekun, on public-private partnerships in Nigeria, an essential guide for stakeholders, provided key players in the industry the requisite knowledge and guide regarding the operations and implementations of the Public-Private Partnerships Initiative in Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima said the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, will evolve functional infrastructure for Nigerians. Vice President Shettima affirmed that the government will continue to provide enabling environment for the speedy dispensation of justice in the country.
And one of the cardinal points of the renewed hope agenda is delivering functional infrastructure in Nigeria. His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ECFR, believes that social harmony and first-class infrastructure are part of the engine room of economic growth.
For the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Oluka Odiaruwola, and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, the books will contribute to the development of the justice sector.
The Supreme Court of Nigeria is the apex court, so that whatever decision is given, appeal only lies to where none of us seated here has been.
Instructively, the subject matter of the 2 publications, namely the Supreme Court and the Jurisprudence of the Right to Fair Hearing in Nigeria and Public-Private Partnerships in Nigeria, an essential guide for stakeholders, speak lightly of some of the critical national issues that continue to shape public legal discourse as with corporate governance in Nigeria.
Presenting the books to the public, 2 legal icons, Wale Olanipekun SAN and Wale Babalakin SAN, and the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, commended the authors for providing the people with up-to-date analysis on the right to fair hearing.
We appreciate legal issues as politicians,
and we try to review all the cases that go to the Supreme Court on the issue of fair hearing.
Yusuf Ali SAN and the co-author, Dr. Adekilekun, are legal practitioners with noble footprints in legal practice. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
The federal government has assured the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa GIABA of its commitments towards the completion of all action plans within agreed timelines. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi disclosed this at the opening of the 40th Plenary and Technical Commission meeting of GIABA holding at the State House, Abuja. Judiciary correspondent Chukwunonso Mwabwezi reports.
The plenary, which is also the 27th Ministerial Committee meeting of GIABA, is coming at a time the ECOWAS sub-region, just like other parts of the world, is facing numerous challenges ranging from the threats of illicit financial flow to the existential dangers posed by terrorists. Nigeria's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, who is also the chairman of GIABA Ministerial Committee, while declaring the meeting open, reaffirms Nigerian government's unwavering support to ensure GIABA achieves its mandate.
The mutual evaluation itself, particularly the follow-up process, provides a pathway to address many of the deficiencies that have been identified. In the Nigeria's case, since the publication of our report in 2021, we have taken significant steps to enhance our national AML, CFT, and CPF legal framework.
Over the coming years, going into the third round, the Secretary will work with member states on assets recovery that include all phases, that is freezing, seizure, confiscation, management and disposal, with the ultimate goal of denying criminals the use of the proceeds of crimes.
Representatives from the ECOWAS Commission, the Financial Action Task Force (FAFT), as well as the CEO of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, equally pledged their support to the GIABA cause.
The key AML, TFT, and key institutions in your countries should be strengthened and adequately resourced.
GIABA should continue to enhance the coordination and delivery of technical assistance and training, such as recommendations 4 and 38 relating to asset recovery, recommendation 8 relating to non-profit organizations, and recommendations 24 and 25.
These participants will in the next 2 days cross-fertilize ideas and experiences on best ways of combating money laundering and other financial crimes within the West African sub-region. Chukwunonso Mwabwezi, NTA News.
Stay with us for more reports after this timeout. Don't go away.
3, 2, 1.
Hi. Hello.
Can you see me?
It's got my name on the cup.
Hi, Africa Magic. I would like to say happy birthday.
Congratulations to Africa Magic.
20 is a lot.
I was shocked that it's only 20 years.
For telling stories of passion.
Thank you for inclusion.
Thank you for training me and raising me.
Thanks for nurturing stars.
Today, if we are loved and celebrated around the world, Africa Magic has played a key role in that.
Happy birthday, Africa Magic.
To the best of them all, we love you.
Congratulations from Bright Easy Burugu, Badman Ball, Green Baby Hustler, Allah, Jimmy the Long Gone.
Champagne.
Glad to know you're still there. Senate has called on security agencies in Nigeria, both military and paramilitary, to develop a national security policy that will enhance synergy and coordination in their operations. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo reports that the legislators resolved to invite the National Security Advisor, service chiefs, and heads of other security agencies for discussions.
It is the last plenary of the week, this time with a full complement of chamber staff following the suspension of the industrial action by Labour and Trade Union Congress. Senate once again addressed the issue of insecurity. It called on security agencies to develop a national security policy that will enhance synergy and coordination in their operations. This followed a motion by Senator Abdulaziz Musa Yar'Adua, which commended security forces and agencies for their commitment so far and also urged them to carry out an effective and holistic tracking of all forms of insecurity in the country.
Urge the various security agencies in Nigeria, both military and paramilitary, to improve and enhance their interoperational synergy and coordination.
Nigerian police force
to establish dedicated command and control centers at all the state capitals and the FCT for all the relevant security agencies to interface periodically.
Army chiefs, defense chiefs, the Director General of SSS, the Civil Defense Chief, and other gun-wielding security agencies, their heads and service chiefs to a closed-door session with the Nigerian Senate.
Senate has confirmed the nomination of Dr. Aminu Maida for appointment as Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission. The bill that seeks to provide for constituency and other special projects in the annual budget of the Federation, sponsored by Senator Babangida Hussaini, was rejected.
Projects under this act, when passed, shall be community-based in order to ensure that the prospective benefits are available to a widespread and cross-section of the inhabitants of a particular area.
In order to take into consideration the inflationary trend in the country and to bring dividends of democracy to the doorsteps of our people.
We don't need it. Already the power is given to us here. If we want it to be 200 billion, we can go and negotiate.
Do better. And much, much easier if we consult.
Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The nay have it.
Senate has passed the Nigerian Maritime University of Korekonko Delta State Establishment Bill from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has asked the Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chiefs to appear in person before the House to brief lawmakers on sectoral policies towards protecting lives and property of Nigerians. The House at Thursday plenary refused to entertain representatives of the service chiefs who were in the Green Chamber for the commencement of sectoral briefings and debates. A constitutional mandate of Parliament. Adopting a motion by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, the House suspended the sectoral briefings until the service chiefs appear in person and not in representative capacity.
This sectoral engagement be suspended until the leaders of these agencies that we invited, who are our friends, who are working for Nigeria, who we are proud of, until they come to address us, take our questions, explain certain things to us. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
The national
Our dear from the House in an emphatic manner that this House does not encourage, does not accept representation, particularly at this high-level engagement. We thank you. Please convey our message to your service chiefs that we understand the tight schedules they have, and we're willing to make an adjustment to reschedule this engagement to Tuesday next week for them to appear in person.
National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ibe reports that representatives of the service chiefs were thereafter led out of the hallowed chamber, and the House has adjourned plenary till the next legislative date. The Nigerian Air Force is still with the House. The House of Representatives welcomes the decision by the organized labor to suspend its industrial action, which had been in force across the country for 2 days. The Green Chamber also commends the Presidency, the Ministry of Labor and Employment, and the Office of the National Security Advisor for their efforts in ensuring that industrial action is suspended for the benefit of all Nigerians. This is contained in a statement jointly signed by Chairman, House Committee on Labor, Employment and Productivity, Adegbenga Adefarati, and House Spokesman, Akin Rotimi Jr. In line with its legislative agenda, the House says it is positioned to intervene in national challenges and ensure that the welfare of citizens are protected at all times. If well harnessed, astronomy and space technology can help in addressing local and global needs. Director General, National Space Research and Development Agency, Dr. Halilu Shaba, gave the assurance while addressing members of the Astronomical Society of Nigeria. Adebola Brookslin tells us more.
Astronomy, a unique and cost-effective tool which experts say is key to furthering sustainable global developments due to its technological, scientific, and cultural dimensions. Stimulating astronomy education and development throughout Nigeria is one of the missions of these scientists, technologists, and innovators. Director General, National Research and Development Agency, Dr. Halilu Shaba, told the forum that government has been supporting the agency in the area of astronomical development, which provides an inspirational and unique gateway to technology, science, and culture.
A lot of people in the olden days have used it to map. They've used it to determine what the future would really look like. So, and that's where we're getting to. So that the public will now use the knowledge that is driven from the sun, terrestrial body, then also be able to advance their activities on Earth.
If we invest in this, definitely we'll be recruiting, specialized, highly skilled staff. By investing in human resources, human capital, we are directly investing in the economy. And of course, it translates to generating funds to the agency and of course to the country by extension.
By strengthening astronomy communities, key players say developing countries can make progress towards the actualization of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Adebola Brookslin, NTA News.
Training and retraining have been identified as critical for excellent service delivery and invaluable in the healthcare sector. It is against this backdrop that NTAi Communications International Limited is training staff of Zenith Kidney and Medical Center in Abuja on the culture of service excellence. Uche Ugochukwu reports.
Organizers of the training believe that from the gateman to medical doctors, the need for improved services is crucial in hospital management. This media consultant, Grace Zimaye Ebeba, harped on the need for caregivers at whatever cadre to render services in such a way as to make clients confident in their facility. She, however, stressed that they should be proud of their line of duty and observe safety protocols for both themselves and patients.
What I'm trying to do is to let staff know that they can provide the services they provide in a way that makes the customer or the client go away feeling very satisfied and wanting to come back to that organization because the service was what you call they got the wow experience.
We discovered there are some little gaps when it comes to professionalism and what have you. So the management deemed it fit to bring in a professional that can actually dissect the complexities and all that. And we want to ensure that our employees are also up to the task in delivering their service.
This patient service executive, Joy Otu, listens attentively to learn how to make better her services to clients.
I've gained a lot from the training. At least we've learned one or two things on how to make patients feel comfortable around the hospital because most times they come in with a lot of fears and all.
The media consultant demonstrated with a receptionist the necessary skills needed at the workplace and the place of teamwork in achieving service excellence. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Before we go, a quick look at Friday's weather forecasts. And that's the news. Thanks for watching. I'm Vivian Izadifi, and the sign language interpreter has been Courage Ogiriehi.